Identity is a really complicated thing, especially when you're growing up. You're trying to find yourself in sort of the mold that society believes that you should be in.
Matthew Auchincloss.
In my case, if that role is the one that you actually want to live in. I always felt different even when I was a little kid. I didn't have the vocabulary to express it when I was young. I always wanted to play with the boys. I was always very frustrated that they wouldn't let the girls run around with them. That always made me mad because it just seemed very unfair. But I think that also I knew that I wasn't quite like a lot of the other girls. We went to Croatia with my family, and we were out on a boat one day, and my dad loaned me his swim shirt. And I just immediately felt all of that dysphoria in my brain quiet down, and I finally just felt like I could just be myself, I could relax, and I wasn't thinking about my body anymore. I wasn't thinking about how wrong I felt in that moment. And that was a really unique experience. It was something that I hadn't experienced in a long time. And then I got home and I was kind of like, I feel like I should look into this more. And so I went to college. I kind of knew that there was something else going on that I needed to deal with, but going to college, you don't want to try on a whole new identity, you want people to get to know you. And I didn't know who me was at the time, so I went with the old me. And I just kept putting it off until I couldn't do it anymore in my junior year. And over Christmas, I was home and I had this knowledge in my head that I needed to come out and I needed to deal with this with my family, and I had to talk to them, and I could not get the words out over Christmas. I could not do it. I was sitting on the couch with my dad, had a pretty golden opportunity there to just talk to him about it, and I couldn't find the words. I went back to school, and like 2 weeks later I called my mom and I was like, would you still love me if I was a boy? And she was like, yes. I was, however, just calling you to tell you that I love my birthday card. So this is a little bit of a surprise. It's hard for people who have known you your whole life to suddenly start calling you a different name. I think that for families, a lot of times realizing that the person hasn't fundamentally changed is really big. I'm still sort of the same weird kid that they've raised their whole life. I go by Matthew at home, and I love getting to be myself with my family. I'm a hockey beat writer for the Michigan Daily, which is the University of Michigan's independent, student-run newspaper. I came out to the people at the Daily, and that was a really positive experience, which was really awesome. I think that sometimes people don't think that sports are welcoming to trans people, but the Daily is definitely not like that for me. It's been really positive. One of the biggest moments of euphoria for me was getting to see the name Matthew in the print edition of the paper and getting to see it published online, and just knowing that that was always the name that I wanted things published under, and getting to have that experience of saying that's me in the paper. My day-to-day life really hasn't changed since coming out as a trans guy. I think the biggest change is literally that I have a more extensive skincare routine now. Every Sunday I do a testosterone injection. I've started physically transitioning in June. I learned how to do injections on myself. For someone who's always been scared of needles, that was a big adjustment for me. The biggest thing that I've messed up so far was there's two kinds of needles, and I didn't realize that they were two different kinds, and I accidentally stabbed myself with a bigger needle. It was not a good experience. It was my first time, and I was like, oh my God, this hurts so much. I don't know if I can do this. Ultimately, what I have gained in the transition and being comfortable in my body is worth kind of any discomfort that I have about it. I really love kind of how I present myself, and now I get to work as a hockey beat writer
with these hockey players, and I get to be myself around them.
It's still early for me. I'm still very at the beginning of a journey, but I'm definitely on my way, and that makes me incredibly happy.
I want to present myself masculinely, and I want people to take me, I want people to see me and go, that's a man, and be proud of that is something that I've come a long way on. And I think that having a very supportive family, having a very supportive friend group, having a lot of people at the daily that support me, and getting to be myself has been really important to that.
I've always been Matthew, but in a much more real sense, I am Matthew now, and I'm very lucky that that isn't going to change.
I'm lucky that people here will know me as Matthew, and that people at home know me as Matthew, and that I get to continue to kind of figure out who that is all the time. I think I'm very lucky to have that.